Hey guys, this is Nick with the Drilling Cycles. We just got our first batch of 25 beta race models in the shop, and I picked up a 125 and 200 for a kiddo who's coming off the Super Minis to start riding a little bit. And while building, we run into a fitment issue. I think some of the departments at Beta had a lack of communication as far as between the gas tank, the IMS gas tank fitting on the 2025s. They did Beta this year, did an update on the shrouds. You can see here with the shrouds, they dipped the shroud back in. The old shrouds didn't have this dip and just had a hole here. But when you go to the IMS tank, I'll show you on this other bike what you'll see. This shroud, I've already trimmed out the center to make it fit. So you see this solid right here, that dip won't let you fit the tank in. And we'll walk around to the other side and I'll show you a little better how you can tell it. Here's the stock. I've got some tape on it marked already to cut it, but you can see it's not gonna go nowhere near close enough to mount up. Like I said, funny thing is, Beta just paid IMS to redo this tank to make it fit the thicker backbone frames better and everything. So I don't foresee them doing a new tank to fit this. I look for them to come out with a template to cut this shroud to make them fit anyways. Of course, if you want to go back, I had a couple extra shrouds sitting around from my older bike. This one's a 23 model. I think the 23 and 24. If you want to just go back, buy your older shroud, stick on there. It has the appropriate hole, fits the gas tank, no problem. You'll lose your little tab that helps hold this in, keep it from kicking out. If you're like me, I just like having the little wing. Make sure, you know, if I got to pay for a 25 model, I want people to know it's a 25 model. A little extra shroud. So I'm just going to cut out our 25 pieces, make them fit. I did the other one probably 20 minutes or so. So we'll show you how to do that. Putting this outer shroud, kind of mimicking it behind this. You can see what has to come out right here, this piece. And there's even a little interference between here. This piece right here has to be trimmed just a little bit, or it gets up into this to let it snug back up against the bike. So, okay, so we'll go over some measurements we come up with. Hey guys, I'm gonna show you my shroud. I've already pre-marked this and kind of show you reference where you need to start cutting. You can see I come straight back off this line right here. I just run that line all the way back. You won't want to cut flush with this because it won't look right and it won't give the structural the extra little piece here. Anyways, for reference, this is like 3/4 inch painter's tape. Just run it straight back. The top piece, the tank's got an indent in here, the IMS tank does, so you can come back 1 inch from the center of this hole. I think I marked a little bit back of my hole, so I'm gonna cut on the front side of the markings. And then I just angled it around, curved it around for a little aesthetic look. The top, you need to come down a 1/2 inch from this lip. So I'd marked mine 1/2 inch, a couple spots, and then use the tape to run it to give me a straight line. Now, best thing I had to use on it, the easiest thing, I just use a Dremel with a cutting bit here. Run down it, it'll smooth it up afterwards. There's a little grinding wheel, I use that. I mean, there's several ways. You could do this with several different tools, I'm sure. Now this piece in the center, we're cutting out, it's gonna be garbage. So if you have, you don't cut a lot or wanna try to practice a little bit, using, cutting in this and starting off would be a good place just to get a quick feel of how your blade's gonna cut or jump. I know like mine cuts one way easy, the other way it wants to pull you back into your piece. So be careful, and you may want to, like I said, utilize this little piece, make you a practice cut if you want to. We'll trim all this out and then come back in just a second here. All right, guys, you can see, now it didn't take us 60 seconds to cut this out. I left just a little bit extra, not even my 1/8 inch here, 1/16 inch, just so I can clean it up, make it all smooth in case it had imperfection. Now fitting it on the bike, you can see how close. That actually got us in pretty close. And then as we mentioned, that upper piece, so we're going to have to take a little bit out here. I'll just mark a little spot right here. And we'll know, I'd say we're going to do something like that. And this, you can always just cut it. We'll cut a little bit back, start putting it in here. That way we trim back as little as possible to get it in here and fit right. I'll tell you what I'm going to use on this now. May sound odd, a bench grinding wheel, big one. You can just put it right up against it, it'll grind this down pretty smooth. And leave a pretty good look. And all you have to do is trim off a little bit of that excess, the plastic frays. But we'll get to this, come back and refit it, and show you how that goes. Okay guys, about 60 seconds, 3 trips to the bench grinder, and this is what we got. It's as easy as that. We just took a little bit, and right here you can see where we notched. We just kept coming in just a little bit to make this fit. All the bolt holes line up. Really now, all we gotta do, we'll go in with our little Dremel tool that's not the cutting wheel, but the little grinding bit. Smooth all this up, all low ends. Then we'll show you the final product after we get it cleaned up. All right, you can see here we smoothed everything up. Of course, it did leave some little ripples of the ruffles, whatever. To me, I just took a sharp razor. Cut most of those off. Be careful, don't push too hard or down too hard, because it will. If you snag into it, then you end up just cutting on into it and making you a spot you gotta clean up more. Just trim this off just real quick. And of course you can take this, depending on how picky you are, you might not be picky at all. I know you're going to throw this thing down the mountain later on in a couple of days, and don't worry about every little imperfection. So we got those like that. I got a little torch and lighter would work just fine. Just be real careful. Really make some spots on it. This just makes it look a little burrs up. There you can see, I even had to, that was one little bracing they had when I ground this back. I did pull a little bit of that back so it set flush. And that's really about it. We'll go over and we'll bolt it up on the back, let you guys see it like that. Okay guys, so you can see here we've got it bolted back up without our center cleaned up, a little piece here. Everything bolts up, lines up fine. We didn't really have to stretch, move anything as far as that. I think it looks good. And we'll leave a little gap here where your little blue piece filler panel went. But on the last year models, you always did away with that anyways. Other than that, 25, all the accessory we found, pretty much, we didn't have any fitment issues, anything else come from the 24s to the 25s. The rear axle got bigger, so of course anything back there, a brake, disc guard, anything that goes with the rear axle is going to be different, but I think that's been it so far. But anyways, just a little helpful hint. Like I said, you can just go back and buy the other graphics, but then you'd have to tell if you ever had, or go back and buy older shrouds. But then if you had a set of graphics made, you'd have to make sure you get the graphics for one and the other. This one, I think you'll just end up depending on your graphics designer. They may have some in here, they may not. I'm just going to trim mine out when I put it on right here. But all right, guys, that's all for today. And just like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you guys out on the trail.